Hey everyone, Needs More Drums here, back in City Skylines 2 in our region of Grand Keys. With the rapid expansion in Percussiona and the new college in Percussiona Coast, improved connectivity to the area has become a priority amongst officials. Both city and regional officials have been discussing the lack of rail infrastructure in Grand Keys, and this has led to multiple proposals regarding rail expansion. Finally, plans have been approved by both the city of Percussiona and by the region of Grand Keys to invest in significant rail infrastructure. After opposition from farmers in Tempo Township, a new site on undeveloped land has been selected north of Percussiona for a rail depot. This will also require a new highway connection to access the rail yard and to add an additional route to Percussiona Coast. Once this phase of the project is complete, the city of Percussiona will invest in 2 train stations, one in West Percussiona near the fire station and grade school, and another in central Percussiona on a large plot of land near the coast. This is an important project for the region, so let's get building. All right, so we have done a little bit off camera since the last episode, and one of the things that I've done is actually gone around, named everything of significance, including districts and buildings like the schools and the fire stations and police stations. And so everything also has assigned operating districts now, which is something that I never actually did before, but I'm really happy that I did it. I think it'll be pretty useful for the community down the line and will help us better allocate some of our resources. So we could see that we now have Central Percussiona that encompasses this whole downtown area and then this industrial sector. East Percussiona and Percussiona Harbor are kind of one unit in a way. Percussiona Harbor obviously a little bit more industrial, but East Percussiona and Percussiona Harbor share the same city services and operating districts for those services. And then finally we have West Percussiona over here, which is not the biggest area, but with the addition of our train station that I plan to build in this episode, we're going to see some pretty significant growth around here. There's going to be some higher density developments around this city center, and this area is going to really need its own kind of dedicated section with all the city services and the anticipated growth of the community. And then finally we have Percussiona Coast and the newly incorporated Tempo Township, which is the unincorporated farmland area, a lot more rural. These Tempo Township and Percussiona Coast share the same city services at the moment, and West Percussiona kind of has its own thing going on, and there's some overlap between West Percussiona and Central Percussiona just because of the way that, and even Percussiona Coast to be honest, because of the way that this police station sits and some of the fire services and the schools. I need to rethink, now that I've kind of done this, I need to rethink about rethink the boundaries of all these areas and kind of or not really the boundaries, but rethink what services are located in these areas and if there is a demand for some services within some of these areas specifically. So particularly between West Percussiona and Percussiona Coast, there's, like I said, there's a lot of shared services in this region just because of proximity and the way that we built things out originally. But now I have a little bit of a better plan going into this, so we'll revisit that another time. But the big thing today is going to be the rail and the highway connection. So we need to make a highway connection from this avenue to this highway. And the problem is there's some pretty significant elevation changes here in this whole area. So I think what we're going to have to do is, I almost want to, this will be one of the few times that I actually pause the game and just go back to the drawing board on this. So this highway came with the map and it's fine, but I think we could do a little bit better in terms of some of the slopes. And I don't mind that this is higher than this, but in reality, if this is going to be the case, we're going to upgrade this with some sound walls and some added safety measures, because there's no way that this would fly, just as is. So we're gonna try to do something a little bit different here and just reconstruct this. I probably won't make it completely even, but we're just gonna see what happens and do something a little bit better. And then after that, we're gonna purchase another tile over here, or I think it might actually take 2 tiles. Actually, probably not. We might just be able to get away with this one, if I'm being honest. Or actually, it might take a few. We'll see. We might need to purchase like all of these, but we'll see. These have a lot of resources, so they're really, really expensive, which kind of sucks. But yeah, the upkeep mechanic in this game doesn't really bode well for custom maps. But either way, we're gonna put down the rail depot today and really get that rail infrastructure in place. And so my plan for rail infrastructure, I really messed up So I wanted to put the rail depot here, and I completely forgot that I was going to do that. So instead, I want to place it over here. And this is a cool spot because eventually this whole area is going to become kind of another really big city. And so this will serve as a really nice entry point for that. Around the rail depot, we'll build some industry, and then that'll ease into some suburbs and then the downtown area, which I don't really know where all that's going to be yet. But, you know, it'll lay the groundwork for a nice area to put some more industry, since we have a pretty good demand for that at the moment. And our unemployment rate is creeping up pretty high. So I want to try to bring that down and develop some more industry. And not to mention the tax revenue that'll come in from that. So if we develop, you know, we build out all these tiles, we add some rail infrastructure, our expenses are going to go through the roof. And so we're really going to need to be ready for some more pretty significant expansion in order to make up for those significant investments. But yeah, and so as I was saying about the train tracks, what we're going to have to do for the rail depot is, given the area where it's going to be, we're going to have to do something kind of nifty and run some rail kind of through, like, around this way, I think, and kind of come over the highway and kind of run along the highway here. And I originally didn't want to cut through here, but I think it'll be fine. We'll just have to use a little bit of kind of eminent domain and kind of redo some of the stuff that we built here, which isn't the end of the world. I feel like this area is going to get a little bit redeveloped anyway as we increase the densities and stuff. So I'd rather do this now while the community is still relatively young, rather than wait, you know, until we have something significant here that'll be a bigger issue for us. So these pathways are kind of laying out where I want the tracks to go. Over here, I'm not quite sure what I want to do with this yet. I might just, I'm going to try to bring the train line kind of around, but I don't really know if we need to do that right here. So we'll see about that a little bit later, but I'm not too worried about this whole area right now. But the big thing is I want to get the central station, or what's going to be kind of a smaller version of the central station for now. I want to get that placed here potentially, and then I want to get a station here, the rail depot, and the highway interchange built today. And if at the very least we may not get to actually placing down the train stations, and I would actually be okay with that if we don't get to that. I just want to get the rail depot down and the highway infrastructure built. So let's begin by building out this highway interchange right over here. All right, so like I said, we're going to do a little bit of a clean slate, and I'm going to put the game on pause. And the reason for that is because we're going to redevelop like this entire highway system, kind of stemming from, I think, here, where we had our last major interchange. And again, this came with the map, this interchange. And for now I'm going to keep it, but I don't know if I'm going to do that in the long term. We're going to see. It's a little bit big. It's a little bit weird. It kind of just looks a little bit out of place. And especially like as the city progresses, the smaller the interchanges we can have, the better, because this could actually be used for significant development. So we'll see about that a little bit down the line. But for now, we are going to go ahead and delete all of this. And so again, you can kind of see the problem that we're working with. This is a really steep hillside, and we got to find a way to bring this avenue kind of over the top. And we may have to even move some of these power lines. And I might even do that right now, to be honest. And I know that this is something that I don't usually like to do, but given the circumstances, I'm not really opposed to doing this, because this is something that I didn't build myself, and I kind of want to set this up in a way that makes a little bit more sense to me. And so I don't think we're going to have any other highway connections between here and here. I don't think there's going to be any road, you know, over here that's going to require one. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit of room here. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of start by dragging this out. And let me just look at the grid lines real quick. So I might flatten this out and kind of cut straight through here, and then just take this height here and just cut straight through here. So let me do that real quick. Let me just even out this terrain. And so I think from a development perspective, that really makes sense. It would be probably cheaper and easier for the engineering crews to kind of cut through this hillside rather than trying to, you know, work around the slope. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but who knows? So I'm not a highway engineer. Let me preface that. I'm not a highway engineer. I'm not an urban planner. I'm just kind of doing something that I think that makes a little bit more sense for the area. And I do see some of those highways, and I might actually, I was kind of against this at first, but I might actually go with the kind of the step down in, you know, the elevation differences in the two road segments. You know, when I was driving through, I did a road trip a few years ago through Colorado and right through the, I can't think of the name of the interstate right now. I think it was Interstate 50 or 90. I can't quite remember, but anyway, there's an interstate that cuts straight through kind of this canyon, and it's just a beautiful drive. And the cool thing about it is that both of the highway segments, each one kind of follows a different way, like a different route. You know, they're not like directly parallel next to each other. You know, one of them will go high and then kind of loop over the other one, and then the other one will, you know, be at a totally different elevation and go like a totally different like, you know, different turns and everything. And so it's really cool to see something like that, you know, compared to what I'm used to here in like Indiana and Illinois, where, you know, you drive on a highway and it's just a like 2 lanes, you know, very parallel and very clean. So something a little bit different, but I think it might be cool to kind of mimic that here. If we do something, you know, just, they don't have to be exactly the same, I guess is my point, right? The big thing though that I want to get right is the slope, because this is a pretty significant slope. And so I think what I might actually do is pick kind of like the middle of this here, and we'll kind of start to slope down, and I want to see just what the grade would even be that we need to get to. So let me just do a little bit of experimenting here. So that's only like a 4%, you can't see it there, but it's like a 4% grade to kind of get through the middle of this. And I think I might snake along this hillside here. And so we'll do something like, let's just try this here. Let's kind of follow this. I don't know if I parallel this, just because I'm curious, if I parallel this, will this be at the same height? Oh, the answer is no, which is kind of cool. That's kind of nice to have it even, but still not directly, you know, next to each other. And actually what I might do is I might increase the distance a little bit, increase the offset, so that there's a little bit more space to kind of build. I want to build a sound wall here, and I just want a little bit more space because you figure if there's, you know, some kind of snowstorm or something, and there's a risk of cars kind of going over the side, obviously the sound wall or anything like that will help with that. But you want to create a little bit more distance so that those cars don't, you know, go into the oncoming lane and cause something even worse. So we're gonna be smart about this here. But yeah, I think what we're gonna do is we're just kind of gonna follow this hillside here. And of course now it's telling me that that's not gonna work. All right, let's do this again. Now for this part, this is where I'm kind of curious what to do here. So I think we might try, and that's a 6% grade there. Honestly, not terrible, but I think what I might do is just like slope this entire thing, you know, down to this highway segment and see if I can just clean up this hillside a little bit more. I don't know if that's gonna work the best. Actually, I could just drag this and kind of see. I'm not too sure if that would even work, and I really don't want to mess it up. I think I might. Oh, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, what I might do, I might try to slope this a little bit more and see if I can do something with that. So let's just play around with the terraforming a little bit, then we'll see if something looks decent at the end of this. Yeah, and that's kind of what I wanted to do. I like that a lot better. So it's a nice even slope up now rather than just being kind of all bumpy, but we still have the separated grades or elevations here, kind of the step down thing happening, which I like. So now to loop up into here, we're gonna bring the roads together. So we're gonna turn off our parallel mode and just do this one by one, and we'll turn our guidelines on too to make sure that we're coming into this nicely. what I think I might do is once we're done with building this highway, I want to make sure, come back and make sure that the lanes, you know, since it is a little bit of a grade, I want to make sure that we have a third lane where it's needed for truck traffic going uphill. It's important to have another passing lane so that, you know, any kind of heavy or slow moving vehicle can move to the rightmost lane. And that'll make it easier for people to keep, you know, in smaller cars and stuff to pass on the left side. And it's a lot safer and will reduce any congestion going up some steeper grades. So we're going to leave that for right now. And now we're going to bring this section down into here. Yeah, so getting this guy to look the way that I wanted it to was kind of a little bit tough. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is once we buy this tile, I'm going to kind of just straighten out this segment a little bit. It's because this road was originally going, you know, towards the right, and so I kind of have to adjust to the curve there. But that's all right. We'll live with that. So now that we have that done, I want to think about what we're going to do for this interchange. And so it's going to be interesting to try to work with this, because I think what actually I would like to do is I would like to continue the road over the highway. So I want to bring it, you know, I want to continue some kind of frontage road. It'll turn into kind of a frontage road just along the highway, and then it'll link into our new rail depot and our new industrial area as an alternative route. So it is going to go directly over. And now if you actually look at this, I mean, the height change again is very, very significant. So I think what we might end up having to do is we may have to bring this avenue down a little bit. And I don't want it to be, you know, so high over the top that there's going to be some crazy ramps and stuff like that. I mean, although there are interchanges like that and some pretty big infrastructure projects like that, I don't know if I want that here. So we're going to see. But yeah, see, and so that's pretty high, but also I kind of don't hate it. You know, and at the end of the day, I think what we might end up doing is doing a kind of a, not, you know, a diamond interchange or anything like that, but we're going to do something, you know, maybe like a partial cloverleaf or something like that, to where this side is going to have its own thing, and then this side is going to have its own thing over here, just to kind of work with the heights a little better. So let's actually see if I bring this kind of where I want it, and then we'll start maybe, let's say here. If we do this here, how high do I need to be to make sure that this goes completely over? Let's call it, that's actually sloping down. So I want to get to, yeah, it is 20. It is going to be 20 meters. All right, that's going to be the best I think we got for this area. If I go, yeah, 0.1%, that seems pretty good to me. And I am going to do this kind of diagonally because I want to kind of snake this around to the mountainside there. So this is going to be a big project, and it's going to be kind of cool. I think when it's done, it's going to be a really, you know, something different that we don't have in this area, but I think it'll look all right. And I'm not opposed to it. Because this is going to be a pretty high volume area, I feel like, especially once we build up this town and we have a little bit more of density going on here. We have this industry right here, and the nearest interchange, the next one, is all the way over there. So this is going to be kind of the gateway to this whole community, and it's going to be the closest way to get to West Bricaciona from this route. And if you're going to college, you know, you're coming back on vacation, you're a student, this is going to be your most direct route. So actually, that even makes me think about this road here, if we're going to have to kind of upgrade that and think in the future about a route into Bricaciona Coast. So We will see. We will see. Things to think about. But anyway, I'm just going to jump into a little bit of a time lapse. Since I don't have a set plan with this, I might have to spend a little bit of time just kind of figuring this out. So we'll just jump into a time lapse here, get this built, and then I will bring you guys back in once we're done. So let's see how it looks. All right, and so right now I am going to go ahead and just buy this tile. I know it's expensive, and that's okay because we need to bring this highway down, and so we can make the other part of our interchange here. And I'm wondering if this is not that steep of a road, to be honest with you. I might actually delete this and rebuild it and just do a little bit more of a height difference from the starting point. So we'll start up here, obviously, and it is dropping a bit, but I think we went to 10. Let's see if we can actually bump this down. We might even bump this down a little bit more. I might go to like an 8% grade. That way we could actually get the interchange built a little bit sooner once we get this down to more of a suitable level. We'll do something like that for now. Again, I know this is a little bit of a pretty big infrastructure project for this community, probably one of the biggest that we've seen. But this is, again, going to be a really big gateway into this whole side of the city. And so I'm really not too upset about it. So yeah, so now since we've got this built, I'm going to do something a little bit interesting here. And I think we're going to do like a cool, just something really unusual. We're going to do a very much extended interchange since we do have, and I'm actually going to delete this, that power line there for now because I want to move that. I want to worry about that a little bit later. So I think what we're going to do is we're actually going to intersect here. Sometimes I like to intersect at the base of bridges. Don't ask me why. I think it's kind of like, I don't know, just looks cool sometimes. But yeah, what we're gonna do is we're gonna intersect here. We're gonna have this come around, and I want to clean up this slope a little bit, so that's why I'm not gonna connect that just yet. But I'm gonna have it kind of come around, loop in, and kind of follow this, and then it'll, you know, tie in right here and here. So it's generally in the same spot, but it'll give people the chance coming down the hill. Especially, I'm worried about trucks, especially the hill. You know, I want, if trucks are coming down here and they're going a little bit quick, I want them to be able to have some time to kind of slow down when they come off of the expressway. And then before they loop into here, they're already able to slow down on some more even terrain, because this is quite a ways down from coming up here. So, you know, trucks pick up speed, and gotta really be careful about that. So let's do something a little bit different here. We'll build this out, clean up some of these heights, and then look at the finished result. Yeah, so I don't know. What do you guys think? Is this too much? I kind of like it. I think it works well for the area, and we're able to kind of work around this really dramatic height drop between the two sides of the highway. So sometimes you got to be a little bit different, a little bit innovative in your approach. And honestly, I'm not unhappy with this. Let me know in the comments if you guys think that this is, either a little bit far-fetched or if there's something that I could do to improve this. But overall, I think it's fine. The only thing that I am not the most happy with is this kind of sharp 90-degree turn here. But then again, they have anybody coming off this highway will have all of this time to slow down before this turn. So I think that should be okay. I think that should be all right. And if you are coming off this exit, presumably you're coming down the hill, you already know that you're going to be getting off, so you should slow down anyway. Yeah, I don't think that'll be an issue. It's pretty far down the road. So we will table this for now. I kind of like how that looks. And let's move on to the rail depot. All right, so the rail depot is massive. It's a big asset. And I think we're going to have to put it, I want to put it over here for a few reasons. And the main reason is that I think we can use this as a cool gateway into an industrial area over here that'll serve as kind of the outskirts of our original city and what's going to be a new city over here. This is going to be, a whole nother pretty big part of the region. So it's really flat and there's just a lot of buildable space here. And I think this could be really, really cool as kind of a, something on the outskirts. So the only problem though is how we're going to get here. So what we got to do is we're going to work our train track kind of along this highway here and stuff. And I think this elevation change is going to be pretty difficult to work with for a railway. And so that's why instead of trying to make some connection like over here, I want to bring the railway all the way. I want to make that happen over here so we can start this on some pretty level ground. It'll, come kind of along this highway here, and then we'll just follow this slope down, and it'll be a really, really nice, comfortable grade for the trains so that it's not going to follow, it'll be a little bit shallower than the highway slope, which is really, really nice. So I think what I'm going to have to do though is, as much as this pains me, I think I'm going to have to buy this tile just because of where I want the train to go. The train's going to come, it's going to come through here. It's going to come like along here. And I think it's going to cross over the highway here. So I might have to do, yeah, we're definitely going to have to buy that. I actually, instead, I'm debating if I should elevate this or not. I think I might elevate it because hopefully my plan is I want to kind of be able to try to slip it. Like I might delete this little road connection here and I might try to kind of slip it behind here, behind this industry, so I don't have to actually delete this. And if I elevate it, then that way I could get it up on this little cliff side here, and it'll get rid of these trees, but I think it'll look a lot better there, and we can have it come over the road, over the highway, and then back down here. And I know elevating rail is expensive, but presumably what I'm thinking of here is sort of like one of those, it's not going to be like completely elevated, right? It's going to take advantage of the land. And so the only time it's really going to be elevated is coming over the highway here. And that I'm not mad about. I'm not mad about that at all. I think that'll be actually smart to put it over the highway. And then we'll just, like I said, bring it back down, bring it down the mountain, and then we'll hook up over here into the rail yard, wherever that's going to be. So let's get the track built out in this direction, and we'll connect. We'll actually, you know what I'm going to do? We're going to build the track for this whole area because I have some things that I need to kind of work out here with this. And I'm going to say this now. We're going to have some at-grade crossings right here on this major arterial road, but don't worry, that is not a permanent fixture. Eventually, we are going to reconstruct this entire road and make it more of a high volume, more akin to a highway rather than just like an avenue. So just pardon the crossings for now. I just want to get it laid out and see if the angles work and everything like that. So let's go ahead and get this built. All right, and so I know it needs a little bit of cleaning up, but I'm not unhappy with that grade. I'm probably going to smooth it along the edges a little bit. You know, I could have just, I don't know, this is kind of steep. I really should just make this whole thing a bridge, because presumably there's not a lot of land here that would have been able to have been moved around to make this work. Maybe I'll do that, but then that means I gotta like actually delete it all and smooth the terrain again, and I don't know if I feel like doing that. we're gonna see. I might make this kind of more a little bit of, see if I can make this more flush with like the cliffside, because that is quite a steep drop there from the height. Yeah, that really doesn't make much sense, does it? You know what? I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I think that looks really unrealistic, and there is no way that this amount of land would be moved around for this. So we're just gonna do this. We're just gonna kind of flatten this all out again. And now we'll come through. Yeah, because that's quite a drop, I'll be honest. So let's just come through here. We'll have just a bridge. See if we can elevate, if this will elevate to get up through here. And now it's probably not going to let me elevate it, though, is the problem, which is going to make me really mad. So let's see if we could just force a bridge here. This is where mods are nice, because I could just force this to be elevated, but now I kind of got to, you know, be at the mercy of this. Now they have this giant concrete wall looking thing, and honestly, I don't know. Oh wait, there we go. Okay. That's not bad. And now we can just even this up. Bring this over to here. You know what? I'm not going to complain about that. Awesome. Yeah, and that's fine. This is fine. You know, a little bit of this key wall type thing here. That's okay. I just didn't want it spanning the entire thing, but yeah, because look at that. Look at the gap under here. I mean, there's trees that are as tall as this rail line, so it did not make sense to just, you know, bump all the land up. We're going, you know, 100 feet maybe in some places to try to get this up to the elevation. So yeah, so I think the bridge is going to be really, really good there. And then we have this pretty sharp turn, but for now I think this turned out okay. Obviously, like I said, this is a work in progress, and I need to make one more connection going this way, but I think I'm just going to wait until we redo this highway part, because this is going to be a really, really big project, and I just don't feel like doing that right now. Just baby steps. All right, so okay, we got that done. We got the rail line done. Now let's just drag the track out a little bit, and then we'll kind of have this highway sort of like follow it. And so I think we'll drag this like so. And I'm actually thinking, now that I look at it, I may elevate this over the track. And I know we already have this elevation here coming down, but we might go back up, because I think it's easier to, you know, make this connection at more of a ground level, where this highway is connected here, where this interchange is coming in. And then we'll just re-elevate this, cross over here, have it on the other side of the track, and then we'll put our rail depot somewhere over here. So now that we have the train track kind of in a good spot, we'll have these power lines kind of mimic, like, you know, just follow this, kind of parallel this. I think that'll be fine. Speaking of power lines, let me just actually reconnect these real quick before I completely forget about this, because I know that I will forget about this and then we're not going to have any power. Well, that's going to be a problem. You can't go higher than 10 meters. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, sure. We can work with that. So let's cross over here then, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Whatever then. All right, well then in that case, we're just going to follow the train track, and we'll bring this back down. Oh, whoops. We'll bring this back down to 0. All right, and that is some serious infrastructure right there. That is some serious changes. But you know what? I'm not unhappy about it. Sometimes you got to do some crazy stuff like this to make things work in your favor a little bit. And yeah, I'm overall happy with how this is turning out. So let's think about where we're going to put this rail depot. So I'm kind of thinking I want it to be I want to make sure that we can access. Well, it's weird because it's got this garage on the left here. It's only the tracks only come out of one side, but I want to make sure that we can get to the road access on this side of the track. So I do want it to face this way. What we might have to do is kind of loop around. I've done that in one of my cities, like off camera, and it actually doesn't look too bad. And I think I might put this kind of like right here so that we have enough room to get into this track. And I want to make sure that this is all flat ground right here. As you could see, right when we get to the edge of this mountain, this is all flat except for this. We'll just level this out because I don't know what this random hill is doing here anyway. But what's nice about this is we can just have the tracks kind of follow, you know, the side of the mountain here, and then we have enough room with the flat ground to loop them into the rail yard. So we're gonna buy, and I know we're just spending money like crazy here. We're gonna buy one more tile. And I may have to buy even more, but we have 2 million bucks, so I really don't care. And let's just level out the area here. And so it does actually look like our train track is a little bit, there is a little bit of a terrain difference. So I think what we're gonna do, we're gonna take this flat area, we're gonna level this out as best we can. And then I'm actually just gonna bring the track down to this here so that we don't have to worry about, we'll start there and we'll actually bring it down because we don't have that bad of a grade, to be honest, coming down the mountain. I think it's like 3% the entire time, which I'm pretty happy with that. So now we'll just do a slope from, we'll go from here, we'll just come down like this. So that should give us a little bit better grade kind of coming in through there. And let's see if that's even acceptable. I hope it is. Otherwise, I'll be very, very sad. Yeah, so we're looking at like 2%. That's fine. We could work with this. And let's go ahead and just get this rail yard placed. And so, like I said, I want to make sure that the garage is on the left there so that we can have road access on that side. And I think that we're done descending, so I think we should be able to get, I'm gonna have to buy some more tiles, which I don't care because we have, like I said, we have lots of money in the bank, and honestly we're gonna fill this whole area out anyway, so I'm really not too sad about that. Yeah, so let's just plan this out here. So we want the track to come in, and again, I'm actually gonna level this out a little bit more too because I don't know what's going on here. It's just that when you're dealing with railroad tracks, you want to try to make them on as level terrain as possible, because otherwise you start getting into some like weird, you know, just unrealistic type of stuff, and you feel you got to figure that train lines and rail lines are always kind of built very carefully and always are pretty leveled compared to stuff like highways and stuff where you can get away with some steeper slopes. Trains, you got to be careful about your grades, especially freight trains. And since this is going to be from the rail yard, we're going to have freight and passenger trains both going on this, and so I want to make sure that my grades are pretty doable. And I did at one point do some research onto what an acceptable rail grade was, and I don't remember what it is. So if you guys know, let me know. Otherwise, I'll probably go look that up again because I'm really curious. But yeah, so I want to make sure that this is right up against our train line here. We'll plop that down. We finally have a rail yard. Super excited about that. Only cost us 150 grand. But yeah, so that is a cool spot for it. And the reason that I like this is because once we get this city built, it'll serve as a connection point for this city and for this whole Percussiona group of cities over here, Percussiona and Percussiona Coast. It's going to be great. It's going to be really good to finally have this. And yeah, so let's go ahead and just connect up these tracks over here, and then we'll deal with this. Actually, you know what? I might do it now too. Let me just level this out again, and we'll give ourselves some room to work here. And let's get these tracks all laid out, and then we'll probably call it for the day after that. This has been a pretty big episode, a lot of building going on. So this one, you know, taking a lot out of me. So we'll jump in, you know, in another episode where we'll actually get some development done. But this is infrastructure upgrades like this are super important, and so I'm really glad that we're doing this now. And yeah, this is going to serve the city greatly for the future. So let's get these tracks laid out. Yep, and those are some train tracks. So I did actually press play on the game because I wanted to start making a little bit more money since we just blew through a lot of it. But yeah, I tried to make sure that everything is connected. So we have the bypass line here. We have this line comes in, connects to both of these yards. And if the trains need to get to the garage, because I think that it makes sense to have a connection to the garage from both sides, we have this loop here, this 90-degree loop that you know, connects this line to this garage line here. And I think that should be fine. It, you know, it's a pretty generous curve, and since yeah, I think it's fine. So let me know again if you guys think differently, but I just don't know of another way to do this, and I want to make sure that there's this connection point here to the line going back over to the Percusiona cities over here. But yeah, and then I just dragged this track out. I figured this line is going to go into whatever cities are over here, and it'll be helpful to have that kind of just laid out now, since there's actually no roads or anything over here. It's just a pretty clean slate. So it'll be cool to kind of develop this, you know, on our own and just kind of see what happens with this city and the road network and everything like that. And then this track will go out over here, and we'll presumably kind of follow this highway network and go over the river and, you know, see if there's any towns or any connections over here that will be made in the future. So that's that for now. I turned the building off because we don't really need it right at this very second. I don't have any road connections yet, you know, to this or anything like that. So we're gonna deal with that a little bit later, probably. This build has taken a lot, so I think I'm just gonna step away for a little bit, and then come back in the next episode, and we will get the rest of the rail infrastructure and stuff laid out. So I know it may not have seemed like we did a ton, but there was just a lot of moving parts in this episode, and so we actually did quite a bit. And we laid the groundwork for some good, you know, rail infrastructure. So I'm really happy with that. But yeah, I think this highway will plan to just kind of, I might even reorient this a little bit now that we have this railroad track laid out so it doesn't look as goofy. I might just bring this up and over these tracks over here, or I should try to see if I can squeeze it on this side of this connection here. I can just kind of have it parallel this, and then it'll lead into whatever becomes our industrial area over here. And we'll have, you know, the connection to the rail yard. So you know what, actually, let's just do that right now to wrap up the episode. I'll try to lay this out, get this built so that we actually just have it done, rather than waiting for me to do it at another time. And I dare reorient this to be parallel with the track? I think that I do. Let's try it. Let's pause it since we severed that connection. Yeah, and you know what? I'm very much okay with that. I don't think that looks too bad at all. Kind of a cool thing we got going on here, to be honest. I like some weird infrastructure projects like this. Like I said before, you know, something a little bit different. And yeah, overall, I'm not unhappy about it at all. So let's see if we can. We're gonna need to kind of plan out how we do our roads here. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna urbanize this street a little bit coming into here instead of just doing like an alleyway connection. We'll do something a little bit more substantial since this is a pretty big project. We'll get rid of parking and stuff though on this road, but I think what I want to do is just have a little bit of an entryway here. I always like to give myself a little bit of space for like some parking lots or something like that. And I'm trying to line this up here to the entrances with the gates. So we'll do something like that. And then presumably this will just loop around here, and that'll lay the groundwork for a pretty hefty industrial area, I think, over here, which I'm really excited to build. We'll get to that in a future episode. And I know this may be construed as, you know, rapid expansion of an area that's actually not even developed yet, but this is the point, right? I kind of want to make a quick development over here and just something that's going to grow organically, but rather quickly. I want it to be a little bit more planned out, and it'll just greatly enhance, you know, the whole connectivity of the region. So I'm excited for this. I am very excited to build over here. I'm excited that we've kind of expanded out of our original footprint here, and we're really starting to kind of get the region together. We'll get a second city over here pretty soon. It'll be something, you know, a little bit different. I'm really excited for that. And yeah, I don't know, this curve just, aesthetically it bothers me, but functionally it is fine. So I need to leave it. It's just when you look up here, you see this weird like little turn, and I'm like, I don't like it. but hey, it's fine. It's fine. We'll live with it. So yeah, let me know about any of this that we built today. If it doesn't make sense to you, or you're like, man, why the heck did you do that? Like I said, I'm pretty happy with a lot of it, but we're gonna come back and fix it up and stuff as needed too. But yeah, I'll let the game run, and we'll call it an episode for today. Got a lot done, really paving the way for some future expansion. Really excited for this, so stay tuned for the next few episodes. It's going to be really, really fun, and we're going to get a lot built, including our train stations. We're going to fill out this area. We're going to get our central station built and start working on the downtown. Yeah, so we're going to build this downtown here, get this waterfront development started. Really, really excited for that. It's going to be a lot of fun, really increasing the density in this area and making this an actual destination as opposed to just a blank slate. So yeah, it's kind of like Chicago, how Chicago used to be back in the day. There wasn't a ton of waterfront development. It was actually pretty open and pretty industrialized, and then slowly but surely the downtown kind of started to creep closer and closer to Lake Michigan and closer to the water. And so you look at pictures from like the 60s and 70s, and you start to see the more iconic, you know, waterfront buildings being built, and they weren't always there. You know, the city wasn't always along the coast, and so this is kind of the inspiration that I'm taking for this part of the city, where we're going to slowly build out towards the coast over time, and we have this industrial area that's going to get a little bit of a facelift as well. So thanks again so much for watching. Really hope that you guys have been enjoying the series. Thank you all so much for the support. The channel has been growing pretty steadily over the past couple of months, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's great to see the views going up, the subs going up. I really do appreciate you guys, and it makes me want to do this even more and just keep putting some time into this. And it's a lot of fun for me, and I love making these videos, and I'm glad that you guys enjoy them. So in the meantime, hope you guys all have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you guys in the next episode. See ya.